Okay, keep her coming. You okay? Send me down the computer! Here it comes!
My name is Richard Lieberman. I am the scientist in charge of, I was the scientist in charge of Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. I'm not sure what day it is, and I'm not precisely sure if the eruption is over. I'm trapped here in some kind of military installation in some godforsaken part of Colorado. We've got no food, and we've got no power, and the ashfall has contaminated the water supply. The air is so thick with it that we can barely breathe. These men that I'm with, they think if we stay put that we're going to be rescued. But I honest to God believe that if we just watch and wait, we're as good as dead.
Before it all happened, many visitors to Yellowstone were blissfully unaware that it was volcanic. After all, where was the cone-shaped volcano, like Mount St. Helens or Vesuvius? They didn't realize that they were actually standing on top of it, that beneath their feet was one of the largest volcanoes in the world. The truth is, we were only just beginning to understand the workings of the park ourselves. And Virgil, the virtual geophysical imaging laboratory, well, that was going to help us. Or at least, that's what our boss, Michael Eldridge, tried to persuade the press.
With it, we can input data from seismometers, GPS instruments, and video cameras strategically positioned around the park to produce a living, breathing 3D model of what's happening here at Yellowstone. Virgil can also help us to understand the park's beating heart. The vast reservoir of red-hot molten rock that lies just a few kilometers beneath where you're sitting now. The sleeping dragon that powers all of the geysers and hot springs, mud spots and steam vents that draw people here in their millions every year.
You see those colors around the edges?
Yeah.
They're creatures.
Creatures?
Tiny, tiny creatures called thermophiles. You can only see them with a microscope, and they can only live in very, very hot water like this. In fact, some scientists believe that all life on Earth began in places just like this 3.5 billion years ago.
Dylan? Maggie Chin, KCBB News, Salt Lake City.
Hello.
Hello. Your model is very impressive, sir.
Thank you, Miss Chin.
My question is, will it help?
Help what, Miss Chin?
Well, in the last decade, we've seen more and more ground uplift at Yellowstone. 12 feet, I believe, is the conservative estimate.
Well, that estimate is not conservative.
Nonetheless, many of your colleagues in the scientific community believe that it's one of many signs that an eruption is coming.
I'm going to let Rick Lieberman, scientist in charge of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, deal with that one. Rick?
Thank you. This is a sequence of Yellowstone's geological behavior over the past 100 years. Okay, there we go. You see, what we have beneath our feet here at Yellowstone is a type of volcano, a type of hidden volcano, referred to as a restless caldera. Caldera because you'll note it resembles the shape of a cauldron, and restless because it spends much of its life doing what you see it's doing right here. It's huffing and puffing as the magma and the hydrothermal systems beneath the ground rise and fall for reasons that we actually don't fully yet understand. This uplift that you've mentioned, Maggie, is very simply just a part of everyday life here at Yellowstone.
So we're definitely not looking at an imminent super eruption.
Let me say this. The chances of a so-called super eruption are on the order of something like 1 in 600,000. In fact, it's more than twice as likely that an airplane will crash into your backyard. So.
Haven't we just seen extra ground uplift at Norris?
Yes, yeah, we have, as a matter of fact, but that may well be hydrothermal. You know, a buildup of water. I'll tell you what, Miss Chin, you give me $10 right now, and I will offer you odds of 600,000 to 1. So if this thing does go up, you make a killing.
But here I have a map of the Mexican Gulf and the Macondo Well area 252 BP, as you see here where my hand is. We also see there's a green line going through. There is also a red line going through, but this is the green line I'm going to focus on. You see, Shell is a part of Bilderberger. They belong to Holland, and the Dutch Queen Beatrix is also a Bilderberger. They go hand in hand, these two companies. So, we know it's a volcano. I have proven that. I don't have to do it again, but I'm going to show the pictures anyway. So what I believe and what I'm convinced of, that is, they cut over this pipeline to show that there was an oil spill, just to make it plausible for you out there to believe that something nasty happened. Yeah, and indeed something did happen. So, what I'm getting at is, they drilled in the first one to 18,000 feet. They hit a volcano. That's well A. It went out of control and they abandoned it. Well B is also a volcano of oil and mantle. And yesterday I saw a show with Carrie Cassidy. You can find the show. It's called Live in Africa. It's a recent show. It's from June 2010. And she is telling the people in that room that she has been in contact with an insider from BP, and he told her that they have no intentions of stopping this oil spill. Whoa. And she further said that the ultimate goal is to trigger an eruption from the Yellowstone Park. Wow. But before I go on, it is very tragic that 11 people died on the oil rig. It is also very tragic that Matt Simmons is now dead. I had high respect for him, and I am convinced they silenced him. That I'm convinced of. He knew too much, and he was going to say something, and he will not give them rest. Because he knows they are doing all the wrong things down there. They are not contemplating even beginning to stop anything. They might have stopped well A, but not well B. That one they cannot touch, but they have no interest in it either. That one is going to pollute the waters, and they're going to spray it with Corexit. So it's legal for them to spray Corexit. They want to pollute the oceans with this stuff, oil and Corexit, because when the dispersant comes down in the thick crude oil, it thins it out and makes it kind of fluid like water, and then it's much easier to spread around in the oceans. And she has some more details about what their game plan is regarding this Corexit and all this oil in the ocean. I will let her explain that fact. So if we go here, this is the wrong picture, but that didn't look too good. So if you look here, here we have the Mexican Gulf, and right underneath here we have a fault line, the Haiti fault line. But by triggering this volcanic eruption from the Yellowstone Park, it will set the Ring of Fire in motion, and that will make California disappear, literally disappear. And that is my take on it, and I'm pretty sure I'm right in it, because we also know that with any volcanic eruption there is earthquake following. And I posted a video that there was an earthquake in Baton Rouge at 3.0. There has not been an earthquake in that region since 1930, but at that day there were. Not a big one, but it was an earthquake. So we know that, and we are talking about a supervolcano, as Yellowstone Park is. And this next picture here is showing what will be left of America if it goes off, as it is right now. That is not much. And this ash layer you see here in the brown patch, there will be ashes almost knee high, where in the epicenter you will absolutely not be able to go around anywhere. That will be higher than a grown-up man, and it will thin out all the way down to the Mexican Gulf, of course. But there is also another issue in this. We know that those bastards, the powers that be, them that call themselves the elite, they want to destroy this planet. They want to rule this planet and do whatever they want to with it, and have us as their slaves. And it's very clear what they want. They want a population of 500 million. Just take a look at the guidestones in Georgia, if you doubt me. That is Illuminati, New 10 Commandments. They are in charge of this with the Freemasons, but it is Illuminati, first of all, who is in command. So, look at this. If Yellowstone Park is going to erupt, explode, this is really the end result of America. And here we can talk about a paradigm shift of America. This will be the days of sorrows, that is definitely sure. But there's also two other things in this. This is that this, if it blows up, it will carry all the ashes all around the world on the northern hemisphere with the jet stream. It will block out sunlight. It will cease all photosynthesis on the entire northern hemisphere, and northern hemisphere will be plunged into an ice age from one day to another. This is how devastating a volcanic eruption of this proportions will be to the northern hemisphere. And they want to get rid of you and me, because we do have a brain, we do think, right? And we are their biggest hurdle, because we are able, because we have education, we have schooling, so we are not easy targets. So by wiping us out like this, that will make it much easier for them to breed their little slave race as they want it, so they can live in luxury, and you and me as nothing. Well, unfortunately, it says in Revelation that this is how it's going to be. 1/3 of fish and 1/3 of man will die. That is tragic, but it would be wonderful if we people on this planet would be able to, this month, let's just say the 20th of August, to all of us on the entire planet. And if anyone is interested in it, they can do it so, and share it with other ones who is not invited into this. So, and sit down and pray and ask for help and mercy, and we can get the help. I strongly believe in that. That is possible, but it also requires that we are absolutely faithful in what we do and what we wish for, and we are able to carry it on even after the help, that we were not just saying, we got off easy. There is no easy shortcuts here in life. It's all about decision and making the right decisions. Even not making a decision is a choice. So no matter how you twist and turn it, you always take your choice. So there was no picture there. It doesn't matter. So this is the fault lines in America. And in the video down below, you can still watch in and see what I said about that. But this leads to this picture. Here we also have two fault lines in the Mexican Gulf. We have one lying on the west side of the continental slope of Florida, and here we have the mount of the New Madrid line going out into the Mexican Gulf, and it's going straight down through Mexico and severing Mexico from the Yucatan. So right now here, according to BP oil disaster, well, here they are putting depth charges down. They are bombing the seafloor. The seafloor is the thinnest place on planet Earth, and what Carrie Cassidy actually says could be true, because the sediments and the layers in the crust is between 4 to 7 miles thick, and it is the thinnest and the weakest point, and it's very flexible, and it's kind of served like a drum skin. So by doing these detonations down there, it will produce shockwaves through the magma, and that shockwave has to search for the weakest point, and in this case is only 2,000 miles away inside Earth, and that is Yellowstone Park. So it is very possible that that is what they're trying to do. I'm not saying I'm fully believing it, but it cannot. It could be done. It could really be done. That's just my take on it. So here's the New Madrid line, how it's running, and you can see it fits perfectly with these two on the picture just before this. So you can see now, in order to make sure that America don't stand a chance when it comes to the New World Order, they're gonna destroy this nation utterly. And this might be the end result of it. That is what will be left of America. The west side will be underwater and under ashes, and then there's this little strip of Kentucky and Tennessee and New York. That's all. So that doesn't look too good. Let's remember Matt Simmons and the 11 dead from the oil rig. And with that,